Content Creators Chat, the show where we invite you to join us in a chat about content creation and influencer marketing. I'm Rob Ainbinder, and this is my co-host and guest today, Kristen Daukas.
You said my name wrong.
Oh, shit. I should know better by now.
Hocus pocus docus.
Daukas. Welcome to episode 1 of the Content Creators Chat, the show where we invite you to join us in a conversation about content creation and influencer marketing. I'm Rob Ainbinder, and this is my co-host, Kristen Daukas.
Hi, Rob.
Hey, welcome to the show, our first one, Kristen.
Our inaugural podcast.
Yay! Oh my gosh. So
why don't we talk a little bit before you get started with grilling me, and let's talk a little bit about, where this came from and how this baby got born.
No doubt, because it's been one long birth for sure.
Yeah, it has. We birthed a toddler.
Yeah. So the idea is how old, Kristen?
4 years old.
4 years
old. 4 years old, and it came as a derivative of Converge South, which you and I have been involved with for many years. And what we noticed as co-presidents, that the amount of information that people were looking for, we noticed that a lot of it was largely for them to do their own branding and side hustles. Yeah. And so I had one of my epiphanies and said, why don't we do something called a content creators conference? Yeah. And we did a good job getting the wheels going on that 4 years ago, but then, life happened for you and life happened for me. So it just never got off the ground. And thanks to Rona, we decided that what better year to do this. So we have pivoted, another keyword of 2020. We pivoted and we said, let's take this baby on to a virtual summit. And that's where we are now. So we are our first summit will be January 16th.
Yeah.
And this is the companion podcast to go along with it, where we will be able to, share more of the speakers and influencers that are going to be participating in the summit and summits moving forward.
I'm really looking forward to kind of reconnecting with people in the influencer industry, as well as our guests, and kind of bring some real value to those that are starting their influencer content creator journey.
And those that are in it, that have been doing it for a while. And, one thing that 2020 taught us is that you need to have multiple streams of income. None of us are safe from, the corporate world. And I think you and I both have seen a lot of people decide to get a little bit more into the nitty gritty of making their craft and their passion an income stream.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what we're going to be doing is giving these people, these creators, the tools they need to make it a business. So we'll be talking more about the schedule leading up to it. But for now, this is an opportunity for everyone out there to get to know myself as well as Rob.
Yeah. So this is, episode 1. And we're going to interview you, Kristen, for episode 1.
It's the Kristen version edition, and then next week or the next edition will be the Rob edition.
Exactly. Yeah. So, so Kristen is, in addition to an influencer and marketer at heart, how did you get started in marketing?
So, gosh, it seems so long ago because it is so long ago. One of the positions that I held in sales was for a software company, and we kind of laughed and said it was the project to keep the owner's son busy. And no, really, it was to keep him busy. Yeah. And it ended up being more successful than they thought. However, that being said, we didn't have a ton of marketing support. So there was, way back in the day, it was called 12 Horses, which is kind of like the constant contact. I don't even know if they're still around, but it was a constant contact of the day. Yeah. And before the anti-spam laws, I was able to use email marketing
Mm-hmm.
to make President's Club. So I would send out email blasts, to the people, and then because you can track to see who opens it,
Sure.
then I would follow up with them. So it became a warm lead to me. So I was able to make President's Club, I think 2 years in a row doing that. I got pulled away from that company to go to a B2B magazine that serviced that same industry. And there I introduced, ready for it?
Yeah.
Banner advertising. Banner ads on our website, as well as webinars, so that our advertisers had another way of getting in front of our their clients or their prospects. So I went from there, and then in 2008 I was laid off from there, and that was the beginning of the last economic snafu.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find a job in sales because it was everything was commission only. And I said, you know what, if I'm going to work for commission only, I'm going to work for myself. And I always have had a love of working with smaller businesses because my attitude is they don't have a Coca-Cola budget. However, they still need to get their brand in front of their customers, right? So that was also very much the infancy of social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. So I saw a great opportunity to use those tools in social media marketing to brand and market for my smaller customers. And it worked very, very well. So, I've always kind of been on the leading edge of what the latest technology is. So, and the rest, as they say, is history. And I now have reopened my digital marketing agency, and it's nowhere but up from here.
Awesome. Okay. So that kind of leads to my next question. You and I have talked over the years. We've had blogs for quite a while. Kind of, what was the genesis for your blog, your personal blog?
So I created what was then known as Four Hens and a Rooster when we lived up outside of Philadelphia. And we were a young family with 3 young children, and our families were all over the United States. And as a working mother of 3 young children, I didn't have time to be running to the Walgreens to print off pictures of my children. So it literally started as what blogging was, which is a life journal, right?
Yeah.
And that was like, if you want to know what we're up to, you go here. And the moniker Four Hens and a Rooster was for, obviously the 4 hens were myself and my 3 daughters, and the rooster was for my ex-husband. So everybody knew us as Four Hens and a Rooster. And probably when we got down to North Carolina in 2006, probably about 2007, I started segueing and was writing less about the girls and more about parenting in general. So that's where that one came. And then when my oldest daughter turned 13, I recognized that there were tons and tons and tons of mommy blogs on how to deal with littles. There were very, very little that had to do with teens and tweens. So that's when I launched 10 to 20 parenting, which is no longer, I just didn't have time to keep up with it. But that was a good site, I feel, for parents of teens and tweens.
Yeah, definitely. I think I think I hit it up a couple times myself.
Yeah, you did. You sure did.
Right. What do you remember your first influencer gig?
Oh gosh. Not like I think I really started with a lot of it I just did on my own. I just talked about things that I liked. It's a funny story. My best friend and I, at that same time in 2004, 2003, when we each started our own blogs, we also started one called Mommy Sanity Tips, where that's all we did is we just gave our opinion on, the things that we were using. And can you imagine, had we kept that thing going starting in 2004, where we would be?
No doubt.
It's insane. It was, I call it was literally the first, mommy influencer blog. So I would say probably one of my first big influencer campaigns was with Keurig. I don't remember what year that was.
Sure.
So, I've done them with plenty. I've done them with, what's that? I can't remember it, but I was an ambassador with Netflix for 7 years.
Oh yeah.
I've done a ton. I've done a ton of stuff. I can't even remember all the things that I've done.
Yeah.
But mine was on the blog, and blogs at this point that's really not where a lot of the influencer stuff is happening. There's some, especially on the more niche-y, like food, travel, fashion, etc. But definitely just the general blogs. It's not, you definitely have to have a niche on your, for a blog to be successful on influencer.
Definitely. What's something funny that happened with your blog or on an influencer gig?
Oh gosh. I remember one influencer campaign that I had to pull my daughters in on, and they were mortified. It was, they didn't have to do it with me, but I had to make them like do some pictures and shoot some video for me. And that was for Vagisil.
Oh man.
I remember
an important CPG for sure.
And I just remember Mackenzie had one of her friends over, and they were just like, "Oh my god!" They were probably 14 at the time.
Right. Totally embarrassed about that kind of stuff. Like, don't even want to talk about it.
No.
Yeah.
So that's probably the one that I can just like pop out of my head right now.
Crazy. So the flip side of that, what's something that wasn't so cool that happened in an influencer gig or on your blog? Like,
as far as an influencer gig, I would say probably the one that sticks out to me is I did a really big campaign for a large local grocery store.
Okay.
And they were upfitting or whatever all of their stores, right?
Sure.
So they wanted to do a campaign where you kind of went in and said, this is not your old grocery store. This is the new look. And I mean, there was a lot involved in it. And I don't know if they were working in-house. I don't know if they had a PR firm working with them, but all of the content that not just me, but everybody did, they did not share it from the corporate brand at all.
Holy mackerel.
So they put all that, I mean, such a lesson learned. They put all that money into this influencer campaign, and then they didn't take it and use it as user-generated content.
Holy mackerel.
I know.
What a swing and a miss.
Yep. So,
wow.
For those of us that offer, influencer marketing as a service, it's just, that's a huge no-no. I mean, that's a complete waste of money.
Totally. Like, you missed the point of having an influencer campaign.
Yep.
Totally. Okay.
Yep.
So we're talking to Kristen Daukas about her career in marketing and experiences on both sides of influencer engagements. I guess, what else can we share with the audience? Are there any books, courses, magazines, or websites you recommend as far as becoming an influencer or learning more about influencer marketing?
So there's a lot. Isn't that very profound? I would say the places that I tend to pull in, resources from and, read on are the ones that we would use in social media, Examiner, social media, Content Marketing Institute, even HubSpot. They do a great job. CoSchedule does a great job with providing content on that. I would also look at the influencer management companies, such as like Sway, who's going to be one of our presenters. Sway does a good job at really putting stuff out there. And most influencer marketing agencies have groups, and there's also a lot of Facebook groups for influencers. So, we all learn a lot from our peers, and, it's all a whole, trial and error until you find the thing that works for you. So I have found Facebook groups, those private groups, to be a huge, resource.
Yeah. If someone that watches or listens to this podcast wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
I would say you can find me anywhere where you can find my name. So, for instance, on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, all of them, it's at Kristen Daukas. KRISTENDAUKAS. We will put all of everybody's contact information in the show notes. So,
yeah. Great. So as you heard, coming up for episode 2 will be me in the hot seat. And I guess we can talk a little bit about the Content Creators Conference coming up.
Yes.
Yeah. So what's the schedule looking like so far, Kristen?
Well, so far we have, I have to pull it up. I don't know. I'm going to go off the cuff here. So we're going to have some of the topics that we're covering is how to be consistent. So creating an editorial calendar. We've got how to be authentic, which is a very important part of it.
I see that.
We're going to do how to find your niche if you're just getting started, kind of like what we were talking about in the beginning. To be truly successful, you need to focus on one thing. And, you know, whether that one thing is you're an avid photographer, or you love birds, or you love to travel to unique things. So it's something very unique. We are not seeing a lot of success anymore with just across the board, you know, generic influencers. It's just in order to become known, you need to be known for something. So pick your favorite thing that you know the most about and stick with it.
Yeah.
We are going to have, we're going to have a track on finances, how to keep track of, you know, if you are running this as a business, and if you're making money, most likely you can write off a lot of these things that focus on that off of your taxes. So, but you want to do it right. So we're going to have somebody that will talk about that. The importance of having a website. A lot of the Gen Z, sorry, so much for that airplane mode. A lot of Gen Z don't believe that they need to have a landing, you know, a house, a foundation. So you really do. And the importance of that, as you and I have spoken quite a bit about, which is content is king or queen, but only if you own it. And as we saw with Vine several years ago, everybody that made a big splash on Vine, it was gone. So should the same thing happen with TikTok or Snapchat? And if you've created your fame, if you will, and your brand on those platforms, and if you don't have it on your site, it's gone. And it's really hard to, you know, keep it going, keeping the momentum and shifting. You know, those with really large audiences, they can.
Yeah.
But so that's a very important piece, even if it's just a landing page. What else? Media kits. When you start going out to, now picks off of another. We've got a session on a track on how to approach a brand and close your first deal. But that pairs with that media kit, or at least your sell sheet, that they're going to want to see something. And so we'll help everybody create a sell sheet or a media kit. And then Tiffany at Sway is going to be talking about how to work with a influencer management company. And the other one that we're trying to lock down now is what brands expect.
Right.
So this one I think is definitely geared more towards those that are trying to break into the influencer piece on Instagram, TikTok, etc. So
I think those just trying to find their footing, getting started. We also have a hashtag legal,
right? Very
going
important.
through legal landmines and content creation and that sort of thing as you start your journey. So it's looking to be a pretty robust one-day summit.
Yes.
Yeah. And details about the summit can be found at contentcreatorsconference.com. And
which you put so much work into.
Oh, thanks. Well, it's all a part of it, right?
Right.
Making it happen. So yeah, cool.
Well, you did all the hard work. So now whenever we start planning the next one, it'll be a lot less time involved.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a whole new stack of technology I've never touched before. So it was an interesting project for sure. And I don't mind rolling up my sleeves and Yeah, getting dirty and make it happen for sure.
It's going to be a good day. It really is. I think and we're doing it on a Saturday in the middle of January. Nobody's got any place to be. It's cold. Everyone's, coming out of the holidays, so they're not spending money. And this is a great way to kick off 2021. Everybody always makes the resolutions on paying down debt or, increasing their income. So this is a great way to set these creators up for success, to really build their business.
And tickets are free.
That's right.
Can't go wrong with that.
You can't beat free.
No.
Can't beat free. And we've got some great industry leaders that know their stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got.
Yeah. And on to spin that off, one of the other things too is that most of the speakers we're looping in that they'll be able to come in and record a podcast with us, record an episode with us. So everybody will get a good feel for the quality of content that we're going to be giving them. All right. So this is our first one. And our next one is going to feature you, which means I need to go and write up some great questions. And then after that, we'll start featuring some of our speakers as well as other industry leaders that may or may not be speaking or presenting at the first summit. But there are plans for many more to follow after that. But this is the one that we're calling Foundations, because you need a good foundation to be a success.
Right. So thanks for listening and watching to our first episode of the Content Creators Chat. You can listen to us on most of the major listening platforms for podcasts. The website is contentcreatorsconference.com. We're on social at Content Creators, and email is hello@contentcreatorsconference.com.
Excellent. Thanks to everybody for listening. And until next time, I am Kristen Daukas.
And I'm Rob Ainbinder.
Have a great day.